Hello, I'm Mama Dee. Welcome to my kitchen. Today we are going to try to prepare what we call plantain, and you can find this in any grocery store. We're going to fry this, so I'm going to show you how this is done. And this plantain you can eat with whatever you like, but today we're going to prepare eggs. You can eat it with eggs, you can eat it with rice or any other stuff. We'll show you later what other kind of food you can eat it with. So what you do is, when you have your plantain, you go to the sink, you wash it up. So once that is done, get your paper towel to dry it out. Since we have the fry pan on the stove, because what you're going to use to make it is the fry pan. So what you do now is, I'll get a plate, a flat plate, to cut it off. Before I cut it off, I'm going to start the fire and let the fry pan warm up a little bit before I put. The next thing I'll do once it warms up is put the butter. While that is warming up, I'm going to cut up the plantain. I'm going to cut up the plantain and take out the skin, because this part you don't need, and try to smoothen it out. Once that is done, you cut it into slices. If you like, you can cut this out into two. And then cut it out into slices to make it easier for you to fry. To make it easier for you to fry. And once you cut this up, what you now do is you put your butter, because the fry pan is already warm. You put enough butter and stir it a little bit so it will warm up. While that is warming up, I'm going to take the plantain peel and put that in the trash. And then I'm going to wash my knife and put the plates where for the butter. We'll put that away because we don't need that. I'm going to put this knife here. I may need it later. One other thing with plantain is you can put some salt if you want to. Sprinkle some salt. Or if you don't want to, you don't have to sprinkle no salt. And just kind of rub it all over to even it out. Then, you know, this is ready. So what you do now is you can either use your fork or your hand to get it and put it in the fry pan to fry. Okay, while this is frying, what we will now do is try to make the egg. You use the fry pan, put the fry pan on, and the egg, I'm going to use the olive oil. You can also use butter to make it, but I would use the olive oil to show you that it's not just butter. You can also use the olive oil. Put a little bit, enough to use to first you put the tomatoes, onions. So you're going to use enough to fry we have the onions and the red pepper and just a little bit of the small pepper, the hot pepper. You also will put the tomatoes. So this is going to cook for a while. for a little while. While this is cooking, you can also put a little bit of salt. Just a little bit of salt. A little bit of curry. Depends on you. If you don't like curry, you don't have to put curry. You don't have to put curry, and some spices, just a little bit to give it taste. And you keep stirring so that it will evenly cook. Once you're done with all this, we're gonna put all this away. I'm gonna leave this one. So we're gonna put all this away. When we're done with all this, I'm still gonna leave the salt because I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit of salt in the egg to give it some taste too, and then I'm going to stir. This egg is already I already broke it, and this is both the egg yolk in it, but if you want to separate it, you can, or if you just want to get the one without the egg yolk, you can too at the store. So once this is stirred thoroughly and everything is you know, even out, you keep stirring this. You let this cook for a little while longer. While this is cooking, you can get your fork and turn the plantain over for the other side to cook. Make sure that everything is turned over for the other side while it's frying, for the other side to fry. For the other side to fry so that they can fry evenly. It won't be just one side frying. So while this is going on, while that is frying, we're going to now put the egg in the tomatoes and the onions. And we stir. You don't have to. Some people would prefer that it stays for a while before they stir it, but you can also stir it while it's cooking. So it all depends on the type of egg that you want. And some also will put some milk in it if that's your choice. Some can just prepare the egg without the tomatoes, the onions, and everything else. They can just prepare plain egg. So it all depends on the way you want it. But today we just put in the tomatoes and onions. So what you now do is try to turn it over so the other side can cook. We're also frying the egg, even though it's cooking, it's still fried egg. See that the food doesn't take too long at all. The egg is already done. While you're stirring that, and that's almost done, you now go over to the plantain. You can turn it over one more time. But if you don't want it to be this brown, you have to continuously be turning it, you know, so that way it won't be this brown. But it's just a sign that it's cooking, that it's frying real good. So the egg is ready, so I'm going to turn off the stove. I'll put this away. Trying to wash this spoon so I can use it to stab the egg and the plantain. So I'm going to lower the heat so it doesn't get burnt. Okay, as you can see, it's done. So I'm turning off the stove. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dish it out so you can actually see how it looks. It's very easy to make. It doesn't take too long. If you like, you can put just a little bit of oil if you're the type that doesn't like that much oil. Or if you're serving it out, another thing you can do is get your paper towel, put it here so the oil can soak, and then you put out your plantain. So that way the oil, the paper towel is getting rid of the oil, so it won't be that oily. For people who don't like too much oil. Okay, that is done. So we're gonna get another plate to dish out the, this egg you can serve for 2 or 3 people. This is good enough. And what you now do is now get some of the plantain. You can see that some of the oil is already in the paper towel. Get some of the plantain, and there it is. And this you can eat for breakfast, or if you want to eat it for lunch, but it's mostly eating at breakfast time. These are 5 different ways of eating the plantain. You can eat it with rice and stew, and the stew can have meat. This stew is not too red, but if you want it to be that red, you're gonna have to put some more tomatoes while you're making the stew. This is beans. Actually, it's plain beans with stew on top, and you can eat it with the plantain. This is just plain stew, and if you don't want it to be too oily, you can too. This, because it's fried stew, that's why it looks that way. But you can drain out the oil before you serve it. This is the plantain with vegetables and meats, and you have chicken, you have shrimp in it. If you like, you can just be plain shrimp with vegetable, or it can be plain vegetable along with the plantain. And the one that we prepare on the show is the egg with the plantain. And you have any other options, it depends. The plantain you can eat with whatever you want to eat it with. And I hope you've enjoyed the show today, and I hope you'll try it at home, and I hope when you do try it, you'll enjoy the meal. Thanks for watching. This is Mama Dee.